with co host Angela Belford. And today we are actually going to be taking a moment to step back in time because, Angela, you went to Europe for like 17 whole days. And somehow or another, we haven't actually talked about it here on the podcast. Here it is October, and we're finally talking about this trip that you took back in July, August. Sorry, everybody, because you guys need to know if Angela is your life goal of what does a life that's freaking awesome look like, if you need a mentor, a freaking awesome role model, Angela can be that for you. And we should take a moment to reflect and honor and celebrate that. And there's one moment in particular that we're going to talk about and sort of review some video of today. But first, Angela, just overview on the trip. How was it?
Mm. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. And if you go to facebook.com/Angela Belford, you can actually go. I live blogged pretty much every day. I don't know if it's called live blogging, whatever. I posted every day with photos and some videos. It was fantastic. It started with a wedding in Amsterdam. A dear friend of ours, their daughter got married, and so we started. And what's fun about that wedding is that we had gone to the other daughter's wedding last year and the friend's birthday party last year, and so we've gotten to hang out with his family, like his brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews and children, 3 times in 12 months. So we're like feeling very family, it's very
Yeah.
sweet. And so that was cool. And we got to have a great time in Amsterdam. It really is the bike city. And we biked around Amsterdam, which is taking your life into your own hands. It was fabulous. I loved it. And then we got a train. I call this our train cruise, this trip to Europe, because we spent 3 days in Amsterdam. We got on a train, went to Paris to the Olympics,
Oh,
and we were there for the Summer Olympics, got to see the men's gymnastics finals, which was
where
amazing.
the US men won a
US men
bronze.
won for the first time in 16 years, and we got to see the medal ceremony. So that was cool. We got to see beach volleyball on the lawn of the Eiffel Tower. We went to table tennis because there's no table tennis anywhere near us. So that was fun. Table tennis, not ping pong. And then also did the urban sports arena where you could just kind of wander and explore the area where they had breakdancing and BMX and three on three basketball. We didn't get to see any events in there. We got to see a little tiny bit of BMX racing, but just learning how that whole experience worked. So that was cool. And then we got a train. Also, seeing the cauldron was very cool. We stayed late at night because sunset wasn't until 10 p.m., 9:45 at night. And so staying and seeing the cauldron lit up at night was cool. Got a train over to Geneva. My little known fact, my first name is Geneva. And so we thought that'd be fun to go see my namesake, and love Geneva. People ask vacation, do you like beach? Do you like mountains? Geneva is yes. So while we were in Geneva, we took a little day trip up into the mountains to Chamonix, and you actually can get a gondola, which we thought it was interesting. Well, I'll tell you later. We got to ride two different kinds of gondolas. There's the gondola that is like over a ski mountain kind of a thing, and then there's the gondola that is like in canals in Venice. So we got to do two different versions of the gondola on this trip. Anyway, so we did Chamonix. We're going to talk about while I was there. This is the mountains that I was in were the Alps, and I went paragliding. After we did a couple of days in Geneva, we happened to be there on their national holiday. So it was a big celebration and food festival thing. That was fun. Then we got on a train and went to Milan. And I would say that I've since then found out I'm not the only one that thinks Milan. Meh, it's fine. I should have done Verona. We just were trying to find a stop on our way to Venice, so we didn't have to drive 11 hours in a train to Venice. And we weren't doing the fast train. We actually went along the Lake Geneva up through the Alps. So we had to change trains one day 4 times just to be able to keep wiggling up through the Alps. So that was neat. And then after Milan, we ended up in Venice. So it was Venice is amazing. If it's not on your bucket list, you should add it to your bucket list. because it was absolutely better than we could have imagined. And there was beach. So I was pretty happy about that because by that long, I was really kind of getting tired and was like, okay, we slowed way down. Paris was intense and fast. And then the day trips from Geneva were a lot. And so by the time we get to Venice, we're like, just kind of melted a little bit and hung out on the beach several days. So it was very
I,
fun. And I recorded a podcast while I was paragliding.
before we get to that, I've got to know the first time you went to Paris, meh, you really did not like the experience as much as that broke my heart. Second time in Paris, there for the Olympics, how are we feeling about it?
Okay, so here's what's not fair is that Paris is beautiful and I loved the architecture, I loved the history, I loved all of that parts of Paris. So the food, unbelievable. It didn't feel like a very welcoming place. So therefore, and I also had terrible, terrible, terrible jet lag. And so I was not in my best state of mind and I didn't realize that. So it was not a pleasant experience. It was also just not too far after COVID. I think we went in 22. And I would have thought people would have been like, yay, we're open again after COVID. And that kind of wasn't really the case. And I promise there were times I did try to speak. Everybody says, if you try to speak French, I'm like, I promise you I was trying to speak French. And when you try to speak French, they assume you can understand French. And then you can't find the bathroom based on. So anyway, this time everybody had their welcome world here for the Olympics. It was lovely. We also stayed in a couple of places. I mean, we stayed a little bit out of town, so we weren't in all the tourist district. So it felt more like a neighborhood and went to what felt like could have been our neighborhood bar. Super sweet people. Anyway, we had a lovely experience.
I'm so
So
glad.
I'm 50-50 on Paris. Can't wait to go back and win myself over because my friend Emma is all about it. Wants me to come when she's there because I haven't done Paris with my friend Emma who lives there, and Sammy wants to go too.
I'm like, come on, without me, you're gonna go back again without me.
Well, I mean, yeah, yes, and we're gonna no, not necessarily, not necessarily. I meant like I'm going to make sure the next time for sure Emma is there, and I hope that you get to go join as well. My flexibility is a little higher than you because do not have toddlers.
those toddlers can get left behind. Their dad's fully capable. In any case, let's talk about paragliding.
I can just imagine people were like zing, zing, zing. I don't want to hear about her trip. Anyway, go out, go look at the pictures. Paragliding. So this funny story because it actually came on the heels of very nice. Every trip we take, there's at least one big argument. I'm pretty happy we're down to just one big argument anyway, and so I was a little bit frustrated. We were trying to figure out what we were doing. We'd had some things come up a few weeks before the trip that made the trip just a little more budget conscious than I had hoped. And so we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do. Barry had his heart was set on going to Mont Blanc, and because it's connection to James Bond, I could care less. And I tried so hard. Like I was almost to the point, you go and do it, but it was like a 6 or 8 hour like excursion to go do it, and I didn't want to do it. Well, we ended up figuring out that we could just take a public transport bus for pretty reasonable amount of money, $25 each way for an hour trip, and then we could just decide which excursion we wanted once we get there. And so we start talking about paragliding, and I just get so excited. I'm not into skydiving. Barry has done bungee jumping. None of that stuff is exciting to me. I don't. I used to like cliff jumping. I can't make myself cliff jump. I try so hard. I grew up in high school. I lived on Greers Ferry Lake. We went cliff jumping a
There's
lot.
some great cliffs on Greers
There's
Ferry.
some great cliffs. Can't do it anymore. I would love to try, but I cannot get my nervous system to cooperate. So this paragliding in its tandem, I thought, I don't know why. It just reached in and grabbed me. And so as we were on our way to Chamonix, Barry's like, look, my heart is really set on this. How about you go paragliding and I'll go do Mont Blanc? And which we do pretty frequently on trips, have a day where we separate. It gives us more to talk about than experiencing everything at the same time. So that's how I ended up paragliding.
I love it. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
We now, well, so I love it. I'm so excited and I'm grateful for the idea that you had either while you were doing it or right before you were doing it. But basically, you were like, I should record an episode while I'm paragliding.
I definitely didn't have the idea beforehand because I had no idea what I would be like up there. And I like when you are paragliding, you end up like sitting on this little seat and then it's strapped in. It would be like if a backpack had a little seat that folded down that you could sit on. And so you're sitting in the seat, you're strapped in. There's somebody else that's guiding the little thing. And what was crazy is that he's on the way up there. My guide said, you are not going to try to leave the ground. I'm like, excuse me? And he's like, no, 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 you're not going to jump. We're not going to jump off a cliff. You're just going to walk toward the edge of the cliff. And I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. I wish I would have known this before because this is even one more wonderful. And so it's funny is that definitely a test of strength because when that wind grabbed me, I tried to walk and it's very entertaining at the beginning. I have a cell phone camera just down, just on a lanyard basically. And you just literally you start walking and then it lifts you up. So that was amazing. And then all of a sudden he's like, okay, now, get yourself all situated and snuggled in and make sure you're all strapped all. And then you just are up there. And so I could feel my heart racing like crazy as we're getting ready to do this thing. And then about 5 minutes in, 5 or 10 minutes in, I noticed that I am calmed way down. I'm just chillaxing. As a matter of fact, I was like, oh, I need to stop recording because if that way I only have to upload 5 minute videos, and I don't have this big long video. And so I was with it and like now I was, doing the thing and I'm like, oh, I just am noticing what's happening in my body. And so, yeah, I decided I would go ahead and record a little something.
I love it. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go listen to Angela's paragliding podcast that she did. I would recommend if you're not watching this on YouTube, go swing over there and check it out because you can see the video of her on YouTube, paragliding over the Swiss Alps.
Accelerate.
And that I just
and,
run toward the edge.
And you run to the end, and even in the air, it's better to do a few steps in the air.
Okay.
And never try to leave the ground.
Don't try to leave the ground.
No.
Okay. So don't lift my feet up.
No.
Okay.
Okay, start walking forward. Forward.
Oh, I can't.
And now you accelerate. More. Yes.
Oh.
Run inside here.
Okay. Good. Oh,
Sit down in the back. Yeah.
oh.
Before you take off.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing! Okay. This is absolutely freaking awesome! There's Nikolai! Oh my gosh.
Come on.
Oh gosh. Oh, it feels just right. I don't know what you said. Yeah, let's fly longer for sure. Up over the. Wowza! Oh my word! Look how far down that is. Oh. Oh my gosh. Woo! And that's what looking down. Oh. That's the very best view. Wow. Unbelievable. It's just gorgeous. This unlike anything. Oh, let's drop the rain. Oh, look, there's the river running through it right there. Okay, so what's really cool about this experience is that I have been up here for about 10 minutes now, and you actually can't maintain crazy level of excitement for 10 minutes. That level of adrenaline, like the adrenaline has to come down, and so then you kind of settle in. You kind of got to relax. Your stomach settles a little bit, quit sweating a little bit. You just relax into it, which is a whole lot of what I teach about when we are feeling activated, and then we just like allow it, and it will dissipate and it will pass through if we don't resist it. And I've just been sitting here for the last minute or two just going, okay, relax, because my stomach's ready to like twisting, turning, and I didn't want it to end, so I didn't want to get motion sick, and so I just had to calm myself down, and then I could just like feel my heart slowing down. I'll check my heart rate later. Actually, I guess I could check him out. I've got time. No, I can't. That makes me nervous. Sorry. And so now you can just sit and enjoy the view and relax. Oh, and there is I'm doing some loop-de-loops. I chose not to do the loop-de-loops. Oh my stomach gets kind of queasy just watching them do that. I hope that's not how we land. Is that how we land? Okay, we don't land like that, right? Okay, thank you. Okay. So there you go. Even paragliding, I'm going to be figuring out how to feel your feelings. Hope you guys enjoyed the view. And there's the gondola that we came up. Maybe we'll grab a drink another time. Ooh. Probably should have thought about motion sickness a little bit.
You think you can have the motion sickness?
No, I'm alright.
Maybe we leave the tunnel and we go over the way.
Wow, look how far down that is. You just feel little drops of rain.
It's flying anyway, huh?
Yeah. We're flying.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And yet it feels like we're just sitting still, kind of. More drops of rain. That's so interesting. Yeah, no, it's just a cool feeling. No, it's just, yeah, no, it's, okay. very cool hotel.
That's the field where we are going to land.
Okay.
You have a hotel or you stay in Geneva?
We stay in Geneva. We just came over for the day. Just grabbed a bus. And so, is that the glacier?
Yes, it's called Glacier des Bossons.
The Bossons.
The Mont Blanc, the top of Mont Blanc, we don't see it. It's in the cloud just over the glacier.
Aha. That is where my sweet husband is.
Good?
Yeah,
It's more quiet.
it's so quiet.
It's the best view of Chamonix.
Oh my goodness, for sure. Oh.
Okay?
Yeah.
Landing is very easy. Just before the landing, I tell you to stand up, just out of the seat. Be
Okay.
ready for walking a few steps.
Okay.
Storm is coming, huh?
Seems like it. Yeah, I heard that thunder.
I think it will be the last flight of the day.
Oh, I got in just in time.
Yes.
Oh, goodness. Oh, my stomach.
We land in 20 seconds.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
You can stand up. Be ready to walk a bit from the ground.
Mm.
Angela, you went paragliding. That's so cool. That was amazing. And I hope that you guys enjoyed watching that and just getting to see and experience a little bit about what was going on. What do you hope people took away from this and getting to kind of see the experience?
Well, it wasn't just paragliding. It was paragliding in the Alps. Y'all, let's go. So that was pretty great. I didn't realize till I was over there that there's the French Alps, the Swiss Alps, and the Italian Alps. So the Alps is kind of a big mountain range. So to make it simple and easy, we just said it was in the Alps. Because actually, while Barry was on his gondola ride, he goes, "I don't know when I'm going to be back because I'm on my way to Italy." Like the we started the day in Switzerland, we are in France, and then he on his gondola ride was in Italy. That's just a weird kind of. He got 3 countries in one day. Um, but paragliding, what I loved about it was the just being able to enjoy a different view, a different perspective, being able to be okay with things that I am comfortable with. So while I love to push myself outside the comfort zone, I know that cliff jumping isn't something that my brain will get will let me do. And I've resolved myself to that. I mean, because you cliff jump into water and water triggers, like, sometimes my panic attack. So I can see where my brain is at. And I'm not interested in so to me, I'm not interested in skydiving or bungee jumping. And so therefore it doesn't feel like this big giant fear to get over. It's okay. If this isn't your jam, like, it's okay. It wasn't my jam to go wander across to Mount Blanc, but Barry loved it.
Well, and
His
I think that on that something is not your jam, there are some things where it's like, working and interacting with other human beings, it's just not my thing. So I think I'm just going to not do it. Like there are a couple of things that it's like, okay, well, baby girl, that's going to be detrimental to your lifestyle to not overcome whatever it is that is preventing you from
correct.
doing that thing. There are some things it is not a requirement of daily life to go jump out of airplanes. Like,
Well, and
you
that's
don't
the
need
thing
to.
is it doesn't feel like fear.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to jump out of an airplane. I'm just not interested. And I think that's a nuance to discern is like, when is it, I don't prefer it. I'm not interested in it. And, oh, I don't like how I feel doing it. That makes me uncomfortable. So I'm going to avoid it. Like, you really have to get to know yourself. And if it's like, that makes me uncomfortable, I'm going to avoid it. With cliff
Well,
jumping, I actually have resolved myself to because I can go my life without it impacting my life.
without it impacting your life. I was like, and then the third option, I'm uninterested in this, so I'm just not going to do it. I'm uninterested in paying my bills. I'm not afraid of it. I just don't want to. It's like,
Yeah,
well, then you can
that's
deal with
gonna
the consequence of that. There's
right.
not a consequence of choosing not to skydive or cliff jump.
hmm
It just is.
I,
So
I went
paragliding,
rappelling down waterfalls. Happy to
yeah.
do it. I was delighted to do it. Wasn't terrifying. Was really exhilarating. So yeah, just pick and choose, get to know yourself, and figure out what the impacts are. It didn't feel super dangerous. Didn't feel like I was gonna like risk. But there was something else recently that somebody encouraged me to do, and I was like, no, that feels like I could bodily harm myself, and I don't want to. I'm not willing to take that risk for bodily harm. Just not
Yeah.
interested.
The
So,
reward isn't necessarily worth the risk
yep.
that I would have to put up for it.
Yeah.
Seems fair.
Thanks for letting me share.
Absolutely. And I think that with you and I and just the cool things that we do, I love getting to take a moment to pause and celebrate and practice celebrating these things, holding on to it and remembering, bottling up that joy to kind of come back to.
Speaking of bottling up joy, I do want to also celebrate that I have a really, really phenomenal community of supporting people. And I've noticed that when I post about my trips, I get lots of very positive people are happy for us. Like, I have people that are in their 80s, 70s and 80s, and they're like, we can't travel like that anymore. Or for different reasons, and they're like, oh, we love getting to travel vicariously through you. And then even people that do travel, they're like, I love, you guys are living your best life. Like, it's just cool. It's a moment for me to really celebrate that I brought together. If there are people out there that are jealous or that are sending me ill will, I literally do not even hear it. Like, I don't they it, my reticular activating system doesn't notice. So like, people I don't hear, and I can remember in my 20s, it seemed like I heard people go, "Oh, must be nice," because we would go to Canada like once a year, and "Oh, must be nice," and I'm like, I mean, you want to go hang out with your in-laws for a week? Sure. Yeah, it is nice. I do love family, but anyway, and I don't hear that anymore. And I think it's because I've changed my beliefs. So my filters have changed. So if somebody's feeling that way, they're either don't give it to me or I don't hear it. So I love that and I'm going to celebrate.
I had a friend in college that after college got a really amazing opportunity to go teach English in another country. And I remember just being so happy for her. And her and I, we actually started pen pals back and forth, and it was really great. And I was like, oh, I am so jealous for you in the best of ways. You're going to have so much fun, and this life experience is amazing. And I can't wait to hear all of the stories about it. And she shared with me, she said, I think you're the only person in my life who has said, I am jealous for you in the best of ways. And there was an element where it was like, I mean, jealous wasn't a negative intention in that moment. It wasn't like, oh, so nice. Like, I can't believe you get to go do this thing, or how dare you
Mm-hmm.
leave me, or whatever. It was that excitement, that genuine excitement for somebody else to get to experience something amazing. And what's neat is that that friendship has survived, and be that spark for somebody. Be that person who
Mm-hmm.
can be a cheerleader and be excited for them, even if it's not your joy, because we talked about in the five people you're closest with, that impacts your life. There is research around, if you experience joy, they're more likely that the people around you will experience joy, and the people around them will experience joy, and the people around them. So your joy and being excited for somebody else can help that ripple effect into the world. So be that person. Be excited for other people, because it's such a gift to give to somebody, to not have to make them feel bad or try to, rain on their parade. So
It's
I
funny
love
that
that.
friend went to Germany, right?
Mhm.
And the German word that Brene Brown talks about, I'm going to hopefully not butcher it, is
Frodenfreud?
yes, that's it, Frodenfreud. Yes, where it is literally like you having happiness for someone else's success. There's not an English word for it. And so, but I want to cultivate that more in my life.
I love it. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this reflection and this look back. We hope you guys will listen in next week as we start to talk more about rest and what that can look like in a busy life. Until next time, we hope you